Pakistan joins UN Counter-Terrorism Committee, a diplomatic farce drenched in blood. Written by Jai G. Bunsell. When a terror sponsor leads counterterrorism, international law becomes theater. This is not just hypocrisy. It's betrayal, cloaked in protocol, and paid for with the blood of the innocent. It's not every day that the world serves up irony so rich, it practically writes its own satire. But that's exactly what happened when the United Nations decided to appoint Pakistan as vice chair of the Security Council's Counterterrorism Committee for 2025. Yes, the very same Pakistan that has for decades treated terrorism not as a threat to fight, but as a foreign policy instrument. It's hard to laugh when the stakes are so high, but perhaps we must, because the alternative is to cry, especially when one remembers places like Pahalgam. Pahalgam, where pilgrimage became a massacre. Imagine this. Indian families vacationing in the scenic hills of Pahalgam. Children laughing, parents taking photos, elders soaking in the mountain air. A peaceful summer escape. Until it wasn't. Armed men intercepted tourist groups and asked a chilling question. What's your religion? When the answer was Hindu, they opened fire. No mercy. Fathers, sons, husbands, slaughtered in front of their wives and children, executed for the sole crime of being Hindu. Pahalgam wasn't just another terror strike. It was a premeditated anti-Hindu massacre, an assault on faith, identity, and innocence. The assailants didn't hide behind masks or darkness. They wanted the killings to send a message. And as the blood of innocents stained the soil, Pakistan's propaganda machine whirred into action. Denials, deflections, and diplomatic theater. No scam, no responsibility. But India didn't respond with candles this time. It responded with fire. Operation Sindoor was more than a military response. It was a civilizational statement. Launch pads across the loch were turned into dust. Terror handlers, bunkers, and ammunition depots were surgically eliminated. It was swift, precise, and unapologetic. And yet, in a twist that defies all moral logic, Pakistan, architect of the carnage, is now chairing a UN forum on counterterrorism. For the families shattered in Pahalgam, this isn't international diplomacy. It's a slap in the face. Pakistan, terrorism's longtime brand ambassador. While most countries dabble in diplomacy, Pakistan built its entire foreign policy on the fine art of outsourcing terror. From the Taliban to Lashkar-e-Taiba, Pakistan has been the Amazon Prime of jihadism. Fast, reliable, and always just a border away. Osama bin Laden wasn't found in a cave. He was chilling a stone's throw from a Pakistani military academy, as if he were their guest of honor at the annual alumni dinner. And let's not forget Uri, Pulwama, and Mumbai, greatest hits from the ISI's mixtape of murder. When it comes to terrorism, Pakistan isn't a passive bystander. It's the ghostwriter, producer, and hype man. So really, when the UN appointed Pakistan to help lead global counterterrorism, they weren't being ironic. They were being brutally consistent. Who better to head their department of terrorism than the people who run the industry? After all, a butcher knows meat best. Est unlimited non-sens. The United Nations, once pitched as the world's moral compass, has now upgraded itself into a full-blown satire factory. With Pakistan crowned vice chair of the Counterterrorism Committee, the UN now bears an uncanny resemblance to the legendary Three Monkeys. Only this version comes with first-class flights, immunity badges, and a talent for looking busy while doing absolutely nothing. This is the same UN that suddenly loses its voice when Hindus are butchered in Kashmir, misplaces its outrage during the slow-motion ethnic cleansing of Baluchistan, and somehow finds time for warm chai sessions with Taliban delegates, presumably to exchange tips on cultural diversity. As StopHindudvesha.org rightfully noted, the UN doesn't have double standards. It's got the platinum package of hypocrisy, complete with a logo and lanyard. If nations had to apply for jobs, Pakistan's CV would be printed on an Interpol alert. Special skills: hosting global terrorists with bed and breakfast courtesy, training jihadis with precision, and running terror economies disguised as charities. Work history: Kargil misadventures, the Kandahar hijacking, 26/11 Mumbai, and a thriving export business in cross-border shelling. References: unavailable. They're all either dead, hiding in safe houses, or on the UN sanctions list. Awards: permanent residency on the FATF gray list, renovated twice. Pakistan was on the FATF gray list for so long, they should have been allowed to build a lounge. And now they're giving counterterrorism advice? That's like asking a con artist to lead an ethics seminar, or better yet, letting the fox design the henhouse. Global reaction: shrugs, hors d'oeuvres, and moral amnesia. India, predictably, raised the alarm because it actually deals with the bloody aftermath of Pakistan's terror assembly line. But the West responded with their signature move, a symphony of polite shrugs over canapes. The same nations that bomb weddings in the name of counterterrorism suddenly melt into diplomatic butter when Pakistan dons a suit and recites from their script at the UN. Apparently, all it takes to launder a terror state's sins is a tailored blazer and the right script. Perhaps it's that irresistible mix of post-colonial guilt and elite cocktail party cowardice, where being wrong is fine, as long as you're not politically incorrect. Meanwhile, at the theater of the absurd, UNHQ. Visualize the absurd: Pakistan's envoy sermonizing about extremism, while internally wondering whether to name-drop Hafiz Saeed as a community leader. Delegates nod, smile, pretend to listen, and sip on their $8 UN espresso while the rest of the world burns. Somewhere in the back, a translator sighs, a notepad is closed, and a sliver of the committee's soul quietly disintegrates. Do they serve irony in the UN cafeteria now? Or is that just a house special? Imagine being the father of soldier torn apart by a Pakistani-backed infiltrator, only to see that same state now sitting in judgment over what qualifies as terrorism. If that doesn't boil your blood, you're either anesthetized or complicit in the charade. A final word from the human heart. Here lies the core of the insult. Every time the UN elevates Pakistan, it spits on the memory of terror victims, from the shattered hotels of Mumbai to the burnt remains of Pulwama's CRPF convoy to the blood-soaked hills of Pahalgam. All that suffering, all that sacrifice, swept aside under the glittering absurdity of diplomatic balance. We write this not merely as a condemnation of Pakistan's appointment, but as a direct plea to the diplomats, the watchdogs, the so-called global conscience. Because if the arsonist is handed the fire hose, then the next blaze is not a question of if, but when. Pakistan's seat on the UN's Counter-Terrorism Committee isn't just hypocrisy. It's a declaration. And for those of us still carrying the scars of jihadist terror, the message is unmistakable. Your pain is optional.